Hey y'all, this is T. Today is August 3rd, 2016. Hope y'all are doing really good. I'm doing okay. Can't complain. A little tired actually. Anyway, let's get through this. I'd like to talk about Mchael Emry. I found this article in OPB and it's dated July 17th, 2016. It's entitled Attorney Disputes Claims About Ammon Bundy's Role in Occupation. Now, I'm going to talk about Mchael Emry, but I decided to start here and that'll start to make sense in just a moment. Now, this article, it talks about one of the latest, if not the latest, court appearances for Ammon Bundy. And the part that I wanted to get to is right here. It says, it also appears Mumford, who I believe is Ammon Bundy's new attorney or current attorney. It also appears that Mumford may be trying to point some responsibility away from Ammon Bundy as a lead organizer, allowing brother Ryan Bundy to shoulder responsibility for the armed takeover. Ryan the idiot. Okay, as he said, Ammon was not among the first group to travel to the refuge to establish the statutory adverse possession claim, but his brother Ryan was, Mumford wrote in the motion. And I'll go on to the next. So I happened upon this YouTube video entitled Pete Santilli and FBI Informant. It says the case of a FBI informant should be starring Pete Santilli. And it was published on January 7th, so the siege of the refuge had just taken place. It's a good video and I'll leave a clip. But I noticed in the comments down at the very bottom here, now Mchael Emry was the embedded journalist at this very time. I mean, that was his whole purpose of going there, so it would be my guess that he himself made this comment. And it's from the Voice of Idaho, TVOI News. And they say, or he says, the jig's up, the dance is over. To put all of this in context of what is happening in Harney County, Oregon, the purpose of the Committee of Safety is to begin the process of reclaiming the American government for the American people. The next step for the Committee of Safety to establish a People's American Common Law grand jury to investigate the form of government now in operation in Harney County and to restore a lawful constitutional government in Harney County. Now he goes on, and I'm going to post some screenshots of these comments. I can't scroll anymore, so I can't keep it on the screen. But anyways, a little further down, he says, the Hammond case and Ammon Bundy's leadership is exposing it. Just put Harney County out there in the lead in reclaiming the American government for the American people. I kind of stumbled through that, so I hope that made sense. Okay, I'm going to put some screenshots of that next. Pause to read this comment or go to the video link and read it. It's at the very bottom. But Mchael Emry is really arrogant here. He does state that what they're going to do and change our whole government starting in Harney County under Ammon Bundy's leadership. Mchael Emry, facing federal gun charges, traveled to Oregon in van loaned by Ammon Bundy, prosecutor says. And here's a picture of his bomb makings. Now, at this point, we know Ammon Bundy is indeed the leader. And here we see that Ammon had loaned Mchael Emry a van to transport this machine gun. And who knows what else. Prosecutors Friday will argue against Mchael Emry's second request in less than 2 months for pretrial release, contending that his charge of possessing an unregistered .50 caliber machine gun is among the most serious and dangerous weapon charges he can face. There are several facts of this case that ratchet the seriousness and dangerousness of this offense to higher levels. Assistant U.S. Attorney Nathan Lickvarek wrote in a motion. Emery was arrested in John Day in early May after FBI agents found the machine gun identified by agents as an M2 Browning in a travel trailer serving as his home. Okay, we know that. And he removed the serial number. Emery's wife is relocated. We know that. The 54-year-old admitted he stole the machine gun from a man in Idaho, obliterated its serial number, and traveled with it to Oregon, according to a federal prosecutor. He told FBI agents that he had traveled from Idaho to Oregon in December 2015. Okay, so he was loaned a van from Ammon back in December of 2015 and went and picked up this gun. Now, more of these facts are coming out. One in particular here I found interesting. Before FBI agents executed the search warrant on Emery's trailer in May, Emery had been negotiating to sell the machine gun in Oregon to an undercover law enforcement officer who posed as a convicted felon and captain of a Texas militia group, Lickvarek wrote. So he was going to try to sell this Ma Deuce to a Texas militia group leader who I guess was really an undercover officer, or FBI agent or whatever. Some more key information is here in the very filing against Mchael Emry, and it states, in fact, on the day of the execution of the search warrant, defendant, who would be Mchael Emry, admitted to agents that he traveled from Idaho to Oregon in late December 2015 in a van loaned to him by Ammon Bundy, one of the leaders of the armed occupation of the refuge. Upon arrival in Oregon, defendant Mchael Emry stayed in a house in Burns, Oregon, with Ammon Bundy, Ryan Payne, and other militants. On January 11, 2016, a Deschutes County Sheriff's deputy reported that defendant approached a checkpoint at the Tactical Operations Center at the Burns, Oregon airport and told the deputy that there was a .50 caliber belt-fed machine gun on the refuge. Law enforcement perceived defendant's statement regarding the .50 caliber machine gun as an attempt to intimidate them. According to the cooperating witness in this case, defendant stated he wanted to take the .50 caliber machine gun onto the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge during the occupation, but he couldn't because of law enforcement presence. It also states that Mchael Emry had a large arsenal of weapons, access to grenades, and then it goes on. I'll include the link. Expect me. Welcome to the resistance. Hello, America. Trash Duty Goddess here. So what we know at this point is that Ammon Bundy was the leader, or still is, I don't know. he let Mike Emry borrow a van to transport bomb-making materials and an M2 Browning, or his Ma Deuce. It also says in court papers that there are other weapons involved, grenades and etc. They all left in a convoy from Idaho to Oregon. That includes the PPN, or the Idaho 3%. Now, I've noticed that many YouTube channels still spread the propaganda, and Spitfire had TVOI, the Voice of Idaho representative, on a couple weeks ago or so. And their story is that it's crazy that there's some KKK wizard who is also involved with the Jewish Defense League, and it gets really, really wild. So I didn't include any of their rebuttals because it just doesn't make any sense at all. But you can go read them if you'd like. I won't include any links because it doesn't make any sense. It's so bizarre and so far out there, it's unreal. Now, Michelle Fiore just released a little video stating that this is all, that the government has no case on any of these people at all, and she seems a little bit nervous, personally, from my observation, about these plea deals, as if she has something to hide. So then we have the underlying Islamophobia with Mike Emry. He did the interviews, but he's always just the embedded journalist. He's the embedded journalist with a M2 Browning and bomb making materials and all kinds of weapons, because it's his hobby. Oh yes, also part of his story was that he was taking the gun to Oregon to sell it. Now, I don't know why he couldn't just take a picture of it to show an example or whatever. Beyond me. So he supposedly was transporting it to sell it to an undercover agent who was posing as a leader for a militia in Texas. So this is a political campaign. It is pretty plain to see at this point from all of the characters involved. I would like to know from the Patriot movement members how it is you support the ideals of these people, and more so, how are you continuing to support the behavior, the physical evidence of everything that's unfolding? Still the bashing of Islam, the bashing of Syrian refugees, the bashing of the left, and promoting such propaganda. Oh, I forgot. The Voice of Idaho also is blaming a journalist. Yes, an Oregon Live journalist, or Oregonian journalist, for Mike Emry's bomb-making habit, or Picasso, whatever the hell he is. They are blaming a journalist once again. I don't understand, with Mchael Emry having two news outlets, so to speak, the Voice of Idaho and the Voice of Grant County, how they can't appreciate free speech and free press, and that they are actually carrying on with this storyline of a journalist somehow being at fault for Mike Emry's actions and physical evidence. It's gotten too bizarre for me, folks. Let's see how it unfolds. And as always, I've got your 6.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Plastic cowboy, can I ride the rodeo?
You know, I just shot the Karam with a pink 22, but it didn't fill me up, all right? I just didn't get the warm and fuzzy that I was looking for. So, we got...
Danger man, a naughty boy, the wrong sort, bit of a bad un. Danger man, bad apple, sour